First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time today.
All my pleasure.
You hold a very rare dual perspective. You also teach theory in classes and you also practice the art of it daily as a creator.
Hmm.
So, your perspective matters a lot for my startup and my
Hmm.
research. So, we'll begin.
Sure.
My first question is that today we live in era with more and more tools and better data and everything
Hmm.
than the legends like Piyush Pandey ever had. Yet so much of what we see today feels repetitive and it's here 1 second and then it's gone.
Hmm.
So according to you, why hasn't all this extra data actually made our brand stories more memorable?
Hmm.
Or where are we losing the soul of the story?
Because I think we are at a very nascent stage of data mining.
Hmm.
There is big data, there is big data analytics, right? There
Hmm.
are large language modeling, softwares in the world of AI available. But are all brands 100% utilizing the data that they are sitting on? Answer is still no.
Hmm.
They are still learning. They are
Right.
still discovering the power of data, right? So the day we will start having more and more data aided decision making, it will lead to personalization of communication, it will lead to more contextual clarity of communication, it will lead to more consumer relevant communication. So I believe in a decade or so you will see that. We are still not seeing it. You are right.
So this question is in regards to the first question only that we are battling so much for attention and this
Hmm.
3 second hook. I want to know your take on what makes the thumb stop or like hooks us. Do people stop because the visual is so much aesthetic or they stop because a story or whatever they see feels very personal to them?
I believe it's authenticity that makes them stop.
Hmm.
Okay. Now that authenticity for a fashion vlogger may come through the aesthetics.
Right.
Or for example, for someone like me, it may come through just the sheer idea of women empowerment.
Hmm.
Right? That may be my hook. Okay. So hook is decided based on your content, your niche,
Hmm.
your expertise, and that is authenticity.
Hmm.
So the more authentic you are, and in that authenticity space, you also have to be creative because, of course, you're fighting for attention span, and
Right.
there are tons of content creators. You're not the only one. So to stop anybody's thumb from scrolling, your hook has to be good. It has to be relatable. It should resonate with your audience, and it should be you. Most important.
Right. So this question is very central to what
Hmm.
my research hypothesis is. According to you, we make people feel something.
Hmm.
So is it just pure luck or art that it happens?
No, no, I don't think it's pure luck and art. If it happens the first time, it is pure luck and art
Hmm.
because you didn't know that this style will resonate with people, right?
Right.
Only then it goes viral if it resonates. But now, if you focus on why did this go viral,
Hmm.
what were some of the different traits of that content?
Hmm.
For example, my first reel that went viral was a movie review of this movie called Geraya. Okay, now I dig deeper. 7.6 million and like some 25,000 followers overnight
Hmm.
increase, right? So, as a good marketer, now I need to sit with the data and insights as to what
What works?
worked,
Yeah.
right? One is maybe absolute straightforwardness, like not no sugar coating, because
Hmm.
people love reviews which come dil se and are honest, right?
Hmm.
Second is lots of humor that I used, right?
Hmm.
Third is lots of sarcasm. People loved the sarcasm that I used. So, for example, I said the main hero are the Samudra ke waves, not Deepika or somebody else. So people loved it. So then you start thinking, why did that work? Now you know what works. So then dire
Hmm.
dire your art is getting a touch of science. May it
Right.
still may remain creative art,
Hmm.
but still you will now start seeing logic in it, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a mix.
So in my research, I keep hitting this wall that people do say that we make content and advertisements to, make people feel something and relate it to emotions and everything. But how do we actually measure depth? That
Hmm.
it is not actually quantifiable. So, according to you, how do you differentiate between a brand that shows genuine connection or is building a genuine connection or someone who is just manufacturing sentiment?
So you see, in today's age of information overload, and everybody today lives in a knowledge economy because You also have access to Chat GPT, Google, right? Your Gemini. I have same access. Okay, so it's very easy to get information,
Right.
and that's why the role of advertising today, definitely, as you said, is building emotions and connections with consumers. While you say that it cannot be measured, as an advertising professor, I do know it can be measured, right? So how it can be measured, the depth of the connection, the emotions that you created, how much is the brand love, and brand love can be measured by preference scores and recommendation scores, for example. So if I love a brand, will I prefer it over other brand even if the other brand is giving me a discounted price? Then it shows my love for the brand, right? Or say, for example, for me, Huda Beauty is like the benchmark in lipsticks, right? It's very costly, but I will still prefer it because I know the quality, right? I know the colors available. So that is my brand preference. That means I love the brand. Brand is emotionally connected with me. Second is recommendation score. Will I recommend it to others, right? Then it is brand love. If I recommend it to others, that means of course. So for example, I binge watch all seasons of Emily in Paris. Right now, if that I take as a brand, if after every season I've done a review reel, recommending it so nicely to people, and the why of it, that so many people have actually started seeing Emily in Paris because of my recommendation. So that is recommendation score. Why would I recommend something where I'm not getting paid out of love, right?
Right. Correct.
So there are variety, and these are not the only two ways. There are variety of ways to measure how much emotionally connected your consumers are, and in fact, there are way too many research papers also in this space about emotions, emotional connect, or how attitude changes if ad campaign connects, all that.
Perceptions, emotions.
For everything, yes,
Right.
yes. You should remember how our perception towards paints changed when Asian Paints said "हर घर कुछ कहता है अंदर
Right.
इसमें कौन रहता है." The
Yes.
colors defining your personality, your identity, right? It is in itself a very brilliant example of how emotional advertising works.
Right. My next question is about the theory perspective that most marketing textbooks are written by Western authors, but Indian audiences love drama, excitement, and stories and everything. So, according to you, do you think minimalism actually works
So
here? That
see,
masala.
advertising is always contextual,
Hmm.
right? What works in one context may not work in another context. Similarly, if you compare America with India, the culture is very different.
Right.
So the cultural shifts advertising has to take note of and only then create communication. So if you are creating communication or an ad campaign for a US audience for the same product when you're creating for an Indian audience, the tone, the nature, the drama involved, the voiceovers, everything will be different because you are talking to a different target audience, right? So it's very
Building
different.
on that only, according to you, do you think that there are some universal emotions that works across
Yes.
all India and everywhere, or does context always win?
No, no. So there are some universal emotions that globally work. Okay. For example, motherhood,
Right.
right? For example, parenting and children and their relationship. For example, your best friend. Okay. For example, a daughter and a father's relationship,
Right.
right? The first date, first proposal. Now I'm talking about these instances which are global. The way in which it is executed, like how a mother shows love in US may be different from how a mother shows love in
Right.
India, right? So for a US mother, it may be sending that boy to a trekking camp. That is her way of showing love. Here it may be withholding that permission, and because वो डरती है, कि कहीं लग गया अभी छोटा है. So your way of showing emotions may be different, but motherhood as an emotion is universally felt the same way,
Right.
right? So there are, but then if the deeper you go, you will have to understand the contextual reality also. As I said, how does a mother in India show love? That is very different.
Right.
So motherhood is global, but execution of motherhood will be different. So articulation will be different in
Right.
advertising.
So I also want to understand more about visual trust. As you said
More
that
about?
visual trust.
Okay.
As you already said that authenticity is more important in brands or anyone connecting. So traditionally, a high production value like perfect lighting, cinematic cuts, they were the gold standard earlier. But today, audiences seem to resonate with much more with raw, unpolished videos and footage. So, what do you think builds more trust?
Substance of your content,
Hmm.
right? And consistency.
Right.
Content and consistency. So people may be okay with, let us say, a dim light room in which you
Hmm.
are also shooting your reel with a very 10,000 rupees wala smartphone which does not have the perfect camera. But if your content is powerful,
Hmm.
you will have a huge reach.
Hmm.
कंटेंट आई थिंक इज द मोस्ट पावरफुल.
Hmm.
फिर उसका मेकअप है ये सब जो आप बोल रहे हो,
Hmm.
लाइटिंग, स्टूडियो, पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन, प्री प्रोडक्शन,
Hmm.
all that is the makeup. But if
Hmm.
your basic character is not strong enough,
Hmm.
if your basic personality is not strong enough, no amount of makeup will help you,
So
right?
this is the big one. Like everyone is using AI for copy, visuals, everything. But AI never had a heartbreak, or it never lost a parent, or it didn't feel any emotion. So do you believe eventually AI will be able to mimic human emotions perfectly, or will there always be a soul gap that consumers can smell from far away?
I believe the importance of human behind the AI will never drop.
Hmm.
Okay, AI will increase your productivity.
Hmm.
It will give you more avenues to express. It will make it faster for you to do things.
Hmm.
Okay, but ultimately AI is based on large language modeling data.
Hmm.
Data तो हम ही feed कर रहे हैं ना,
Right.
right? So data is coming from humans.
Hmm.
How you interpret the data is also human,
Hmm.
right? So I think the human interface with AI is going to be something which I am going to look forward to.
Right. Uh, so I have asked about the things that I think matter the most, but is there a question or anything I should have asked but didn't, or because often the best insights come from what I don't ask or what I don't know how to ask.
Hmm. See, right now I don't know the scope of your work, so I'm not able to single it out.
Hmm.
But overall, when you look at, because I know you had written to me and it was about emotions and right consumers and all connect. So I believe that you should know how to use emotions, okay?
Hmm.
Because it's a very sensitive zone, right? It may
Hmm.
backfire.
Right.
People may get offended.
Hmm.
Also, for example, when you use humor, some may think of the same humor as dark humor,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
So you have to be very sensitive when you are using emotions to connect with consumers, and you need to do your research well about what will work, what will not
Hmm.
work. You should know the pulse of your audience, right?
Hmm.
To whom you are talking to
Right.
and how sensitive they are. So, say for example, the same emotions, if used during the COVID times, may give
Hmm.
you a better, different outcome, not better, different outcome
Hmm.
than if you use it now in a non-COVID
Hmm.
time, right? Because
Right.
people's emotions, their sentiments, their what should I say, their delicate way of handling life is was very different during COVID times, and people had a
Hmm.
lot of different stress factors, losses, right?
Hmm.
So much so to get stressed about that your slight humor also would have maybe backfired, which now it
Right.
won't happen. So you need to do your research well, and you need to be very sensitive
Hmm.
about using humor. I'll give you an example like laughing on people's body.
Hmm.
Okay, whether it is height or being fat or being thin
Hmm.
or being short or tall is very okay in our culture. It is
Hmm.
offensive in US culture
Right.
or any other, I would say, non-Asian
Hmm.
culture. It's very offensive, even if you are giving it as a compliment, right? Sometimes people say it as a compliment that, wow, I love your height, but commenting on height, you are trying to tell that nothing else matters, only your physical looks are mattering,
Right.
right? And that is wrong in non-Asian cultures. So you need to be aware of these sensibilities and
Hmm.
sensitivities.
I have set up 3 rounds of rapid fire. So we'll start with round one,
Sure.
which is this or that.
Hmm.
I'll give you two options, and you choose the one that you think is correct.
Okay.
If you have to choose between a high production visual with a weak insight or a simple execution but with a powerful insight.
Always powerful insight. Always.
Right.
Insight above everything.
So round two is one word insight. I'll ask a question, and if possible, you please
One
try to
word.
answer in just
Hmm.
one word. What is the most overused emotion in Indian advertising today? The one we are all tired of seeing.
Melodrama.
Hmm. And the most underutilized emotion.
Sarcasm.
Ah, right. What is the one thing that makes an audience cringe and look away from a brand story?
Lame jokes.
Hmm.
Lame, एकदम lame jokes.
Right. One word to describe the future of content and marketing.
Consistency.
This is the final round. I'll start a sentence and you complete it with the first
Okay.
thought that comes in your mind. Emotional advertising or emotional storytelling works best when.
You know what to talk.
Right. A brand without emotion is just.
A number in the mind.
A brand loses credibility when.
It does not stand up to its promise.
Hmm. The best emotional ad I have ever seen made me feel.
एशियन पेंट हर घर कुछ कहता है.
And lastly, young marketers and creators today need to understand that.
The data is your gold mine.
That's it from my end.
Okay, cool.